Welcome, welcome. You listen to 360 Info. I'm your host, Hamptonio. What you do for yourself depends on what you think of yourself. What you think of yourself depends on what you know of yourself. And what you know of yourself depends on what you've been told of yourself. Yes, it's sunny outside. And guess what? I think y'all better get it in this weekend because the temperatures may be changing. And maybe that Indian summer, who knows? But we pray a little bit and here in Cleveland, and maybe we may get some more warm weather a little bit later on. And it's on the phone. I finished saying in the studio. On the phone, I got my man, Brother Vince. What's going on?
Well, you know how it is. We'll have this Indian summer, and then we'll have snow next week, and then we'll have Indian summer a couple of weeks from now. So don't put your shorts away just yet. You might get another chance. At least some of our European brothers and sisters, they'll be back out in their shorts and everything.
Yeah, flip flops. Okay,
yes.
Absolutely. We'll see.
Yeah, but on a serious note, I do need to mention that our brother Stephen Boyd has had his mother make transition in the past week, and I believe the funeral services are today. So I just wanted to make our listening audience aware of the fact that he has experienced this. Stephen has been an integral part of 360 Info Network. He's been out there helping us to get sponsors, and we want to encourage you to stay connected with Steve and to become a part of the show. So after this weekend, if you want to reach out to Steve, you can call him at 216-526-1297. That's 216-526-1297, and see how you can become a part of the 360 Info Network family, specifically as a sponsor. So today,
condolences to him and his family.
Yes, absolutely. Steve is one of those folks who is connected to just about everybody. So I know that his discomfort right now is being felt by a lot. But I just wanted to make sure that I put that out there. So today we've got an interesting show lined up. We've got a couple of guests on who are doing significant things on a global scale. Our first guest is Dr. Stephen C. Hall. He's from the Cleveland Delta Pace, Mississippi area. Not Cleveland, Ohio, but Cleveland Delta Pace, Mississippi. Received his early nutrition lessons in primal indigenous agricultural science, food, water, holistic health, nutrition, and wellness engineering while being reared up on his grandfather's farm. Today, his research takes him across multidisciplines and partnerships as well as international borders as a senior nutritional supplement and functional food researcher with MI Hope, Inc. He is a graduate of Rosedale High in Rosedale, Mississippi. He's a veteran quartermaster ship navigator of the U.S. Navy. He completed his undergraduate degree in economics, English, and liberal arts from Los Angeles City College. He also attended Howard University, George Washington University, the American University, and he did advanced graduate work in self-directed PhD program of the wellness engineering vitologist and natural fitness and health from the National College of Complementary Medicine and Science in Washington, D.C. Dr. Hall, that is a mouthful, and I've just scratched the surface on your multidimensionality as you expressed in an interview that I listened to before. So with all that said, we'd like to welcome you to 360 Info Network.
And introduce you to our community. Dr. Hall, you there? Okay.
Awesome. I'm so primarily satisfied, and my confidence is well placed here in Cleveland, Ohio, via Cleveland, Mississippi. Growing up on Black Wall Street, outside of Cleveland, Mountain Bayou, Mississippi, in the spirit of 1867, Isaac Montgomery and my late grandfather, Cottrell Hall, in the spirit of the ancestors indigenously in the Mississippi Delta. I'm so proud to be in what I call the cleanest city in the world, Cleveland, Ohio. In Washington, D.C., I see new buildings and innovative technology, but I don't see fresh people like I see in Cleveland, fresh and ready to be revitalized and reformed back to that primal instinct of well-placed confidence.
Okay. I see that you've been in quite a few different places. How was it that you ended up in Cleveland, Ohio, after your start in Cleveland, Delta, Mississippi?
Well, I think it's a matter of synchronicity and time and meeting Kareem Rashid, a friend of Robert, who introduced me to your platform. It's just a matter of being in the right place at the right time. Things are just simply lining up. And as my resume speaks, I am a bundle of experiences. But particularly, I have become a primal human being through all of my research. I spent 6 years as a clinical researcher and clinical group therapist. Being that this is Mental Health Day, it's more than mental health. It is Mental Heart Day. It's Mental Compassion Day. It's a day that we find confidence in each other. And I found through my clinical research in psychology is that individuals were not lacking cerebral cortex or cognition. They were lacking confidence in their brokenheartedness. It was not a matter of a mental head problem. It was a mental heart problem. And that is the world of the problem. That is the problem today. And we have a solution, which is to bring holistic wellness engineering of the whole person appropriately by human invention of the virtues of love and compassion. That is the antidote to the dread, whether it's COVID or any threat out there or crime. We find that it's gone viral and it's affecting the heart rate variability. The research finds there are more nerve endings in the heart than the cerebral cortex. It is the heart, but particularly it is also the gut, that gut instinct, the intuition that must be restored in society to bring about optimal well-being and well-placed
Brother Allen, contacted me and said that you was in town, and the urgency of getting you introduced to our community, and that's why we're having this conversation today. And I definitely, with the multidisciplines that you have, would want to definitely have a whole show to really get a chance to get off in some deep, in-depth conversations. But for the limited time that we have, he mentioned about you was working on, I guess some water, dealing with water, using water as a method of healing. Could you expound on that a little bit with the time that we have?
Yeah, and
absolutely. And quickly, the fruit of my study under the late Dr. Filoni's Bike, who studied at Howard, who has 6 PhDs. I was the last student of Filoni's Bike, P. Vincent Bike, and the spirit of my late father, Dr. Dick Gregory, who gave me confidence back in 2004 that I was onto something, that I was too smart to be in my britches. But in that spirit, I'm bold enough to know that we must acquire immune sufficiency and adaptation. It is a mind-body connection, but the concept of accelerated or activated water that goes beyond the caloric intake, that goes beyond the biochemistry in the bowel or electrical into what we call the electronic emissions of frequency, energy, vibration, enthusiasm, and resonation, that we must become crystal-like water, flowing effortlessly around things, picking up and broadcasting downstream and upstream. The body is 90% water, not just wet. Water is a phenomena of activity and flow and dynamic, kinetic potential, but we must not limit it. We must not limit it, because if we limit it, it becomes what they call electrostatically dead. It doesn't move, it doesn't benefit, it doesn't function for the human being. We must become like water. And we discovered Dr. William John Martin, retired professor of pathology and biology from USC Medical School. I've been a senior research associate with the Institute of Progressive Medicine, the Progressive University in the Quantum University in looking at the non-caloric aspect of healing through water. And I repeat that. When we say non-caloric, we're saying the quality of the human fluids in the body, within the mitochondria, within the cell, inner and outer. It is not what enters the cell. It's what's on the outer aspect of the cell, the pressure, the force, and the temperature. And we discovered that we can activate the fluid, meaning the human is a crystal battery, not just a biological system, not just a psychological system. It is a crystal system capable. We are a central nervous system capable of sending and receiving information from the environment. The electronic emissions, EMF, the time, the temperature, photosynthesis, but this is non-caloric. So healing has to go beyond the metabolic aspect of eating calories, consuming calories, proteins, starch, and fatty acids. It must go into what we call the Kelea, Kelea, activated water. And I'm going to make it very simple.
Okay.
When you have
Okay, hold up, Dr. Hall, because we got to take a break right now. We're going to dive a little bit more into your perspective on hydration and the non-caloric piece that you just shared with us, but we'll do that when we come back. We'll be right back with more 360 Info Network right here on AM 1490 WERE.
Are you ready for a new black economy? Hoppy is a brand new documentary that will set you on a new path of knowledge and enlightenment. The Hoppy film gives viewers a snapshot of our economic history from the dawn of civilization right up until today. Hoppy brings together the brightest and most prolific minds in the fields of psychology, history, business, and politics. Together, they deliver a message of cooperative economics, financial independence, and a pride that we can all be inspired by. On sale now, streaming on all digital formats. For DVD, please visit www.hoppyfilm.com. Use offer code HOPPY360 for a 10% discount. Go to www.happifilm.com today. www.hoppyfilm.com.
We're back on 360 Info Network with Hamptonio and Vince Robinson, yours truly, and our special guest, Dr. Stephen Hall, and he's giving us some information on the importance of hydration and how to hydrate. So we're going to talk about that and allow him to expound upon what he was sharing before we took the break. We'll also get some information from how you can connect with him through his website and the products that he's offering. So, Dr. Hall, if you could continue your explanation regarding hydration and hydrogen.
Yes, Stu, the role of activated water in terms of the energetic needs of the body must exceed the caloric intake. It must exceed the phytonutrient intake or the antioxidant. It must go beyond just calories of carbohydrates and fatty acids and amino acids. The body is a proton-electron balance. It's electrical chemical balance. And it's negative positive balance. It's oxidation reduction potential, plus or minus. But that's just within the metabolic function. As you said, Dr. Sadie said the body was electrical. It is. It is chemical, it's electrical. What we've discovered, there's an electronic aspect of the human body, is ability to interface with the environment, photosynthesis, EMF, 4G, 5G, that disrupts the neuroendocrine, the outlook on life, the motivation of people, that zaps the energy and pushes people into a stressful syndrome. And the deficiency, beyond nutrition deficiency, what's causing us to feel tired and sluggish and run down with heart fog and brain fog and narcissism is that, and the jitters, there's more than one brain. The cerebral cortex is not the only brain. You have 100 trillion cells in the body. The gut has more nerve endings than the heart. The heart has more than the brain. What we're saying is that if we're going to optimize the functions of the biology and the psychology that we must address the environment. And what's in the environment is emissions of radiation, light, and energy electronically. Tesla said that. Frequency, energy, vibration, and enthusiasm and resonance, that we must address that issue. And the way to address that issue is to activate the body fluids through water. And the way we do that is through the kinetic energy. We limit the attraction, meaning when your cells clump together, they cancel out energy. So if you can separate the charge in the dipolar fluids, well, you become a battery. So I'm saying, what we're saying, we are a battery, so let's restore the run-down battery. And the way to do that is to put the right quality of activation of water, moringa. These things can activate water. Red marine algae, fulvic acid, humic acid, in tiny amounts. Not micro, but micro. Not just micro, but quantum. And we discover how to interject that field. It is the human has an environmental force need, not just a metabolic, chemical, electrical. It is an electronic need, and we're developing a beverage called Full Victory Complete Functional H2O. It's an LLC. I put together a team of syndicate researchers and biologists and virologists around the world. We have a COVID-19 study going on with activated water, registered with the FDA. We're talking about clinically proven people. We're not talking about supposition, okay? And so be mindful that this environmental force can be activated using not just alkaline, pH balanced and buffered, and we discovered the constituency that will allow the body fluids to return to an upcharged battery, and that is what human needs to overcome dread, immunity, adaptation, crime, hostility, the viral loads that we're getting, and the psychological loads that we're giving. The brain, the cerebral cortex, does not produce any energy. It uses energy like a CPU. There's a shortage of the energy needs. Our food cannot meet that needs. Our stress level cannot meet that needs. We found that water can be that key mechanism in activating the overall non-caloric energy, alternative cellular energy. We give you the ACE, ACE, adequate cellular, from ICE, insufficient, very simple, to ACE. And there's an electronic need, and we are going to launch a beverage worldwide, clinically proven, FDA grants, ongoing studies to show how we can affect the mind-body connection using the structure of water, magnesium, fulvic acid, humic acid, monorelinite, Altera, kelp, seaweed to break the 4G, 5G. That is the backbone for disease. It is the 4G, 5G, not COVID-19. We can acquire immune sufficiency, not deficiency, and adaptation, having biological needs, but our psychological needs and our spiritual needs to have more compassion in the world. And Full Victory is launching in December. The website for the research that we're doing is www.glacial, GLACIAL, blue.org. Glacial.
What was the last name?
Blue.
Was the last part of it was glacial what?
Blue, BLUE.
Oh,
like
glacial
water.
Blue. Okay.
Yes, you would see. Yeah, Glacial Blue with Dr. William John Martin, my senior research chief science and medical officer who worked at FDA, well-renowned virologist. We discovered a stealth virus 10 years ago, more than 10, that it is not COVID-19. It is not the free radical. It is the stealth viruses that bypass immune recognition. Sound familiar, doesn't it? And does not give antibody indication or copies. It simply can affect the digestive process in the gut, the pre and probiotic activity, and then the heart, and then on to what we call the cerebral cortex, the CPU. When we get enough adequate energy toward that CPU that looks for the threat, that can only look for threat if you give it threat, We must give it enough energetic value to find love, to find compassion, to get rid of the threat. It is through the HPA axis, the hypothalamus, pituitary, adrenal to the endocrine, the secretion of motivation, the secretion of mindfulness and willfulness and control in moderation is done through the HPA axis. When it becomes exhausted, Hank Siler said, general adaptive distress syndrome, we run out of gas, GASS, general adaptive stress syndrome. What I'm saying, let's acquire immune sufficiency and adaptation. Let's bring confidence back to the population of brokenhearted, not just homeless, but hopeful, to move beyond complacency, to find that learn optimism in the light of the epidemiological or the pandemic, if you will, that we must begin to take control, to learn what we learned wrong in now neuroplasticity, bring new experience. And here's something new, beyond alkalinity, beyond the metabolic intake, we need a love intake, and that is human quality, appropriate technology, not just innovative. And what we're so happy to bring this new paradigm of alternative cellular energy. We give society the ACE, not biologically only, not just psychological only, but spiritual, motivational. And we're going to do that through Full Victory functional H2O beverages. And we're launching in 122 countries. We have clinical research. We have filed our FDA research, our institution review board, and what we're going to propagate through our college, the Progressive University, teaching the science. We're looking for faculty members. We're looking for deans. It's a self-directed college, virtual and non-virtual, and we're looking for skill set. We're looking for innovation, because we believe that the race is not going to be won as an individual. The race is going to be won through syndication, collaboration, and the fear and reducing the false evidence appearing real. We are interconnected. It's a quantum dynamics. We're not separate in the universe. There is no inherent self. In the day of mental health is heart health, not mental only, and the heart has the innovation. But I want to remind you all that the dread of society today in racism and orientation can be changed. It is a change of heart. We must get rid of the worry. The research shows from psychoneuroimmunology that the mind body, the immune system is not just controlled by the threat of virus and biological. It's controlled by the threat of confidence. No confidence in society. No confidence in our communities. Since we're 90% water, we must use that mechanism. We must activate economics. We must activate psychology. We must activate the spiritual. And we're on that cutting edge through quantum dynamics to address it through environmental, listen to that word, environmental force. And KELEA, do the research, our patents and research, KELEA, activated water. We can activate food. We can activate the environment to counter global warming. We have the research. We have the confidence of the FDA, the CDC, as well as the World Health Organization. And we've found that the number one deficiency is magnesium, bicarbonate, and a lack of electrolytes like Full Victory and humic acid. It is at the electronic level, and if we can meet that need, we can acquire immune sufficiency and adaptation. We can have self-applied health enhancement methods and systems through raising confidence. It's 100% placebo, and confidence is not the agent that's going to do it. It's the agency of us coming together in syndication, in collaboration to find the value proposition. We know what the problem is. We know what the solution is. We need the deliverables. We have the university model. Join us. The Progressive University. MI Hope stands for Mental Illness Hope, by the way. Is 26 years old, registered to RES in good standing. We hope that we can love with compassion the virtues of positive psychology, finding out what's right, not what's wrong. And what's wrong is that we have the terms wrong. What is healing? How does it work? There is no pills if you don't have the skills. And the Progressive University, the Institute of Progressive Medicine, the clinical research, the clinic can prove it. And also the University of Quantum Dynamics, to find those faculty members and stakeholders coming together in syndication, in collaboration, and delivering a victory, full victory for the blood that runs through all of us, the same genetic that runs through all of us. There cannot be no racism. There's only one genome. There's only phenotype, genotype. It is the human race. It's the primal race. And anything else is a delusion. It's psychotic, not erotic. It is simply dread. It is simply what I would call no confidence. It's simply the threat. And we can counter that by using activated water, activated love, activated psychology, and activated economics. We're going to build some appropriate technology centers to bring STEM education, to bring all the HBCUs together and the non-HBCUs. It is a matter of winning the race together, and there's no better time to be on the planet. And the work that I've done to take it to that, what I call the next level in confidence, and whether it's metabolic X syndrome, we don't know what it is, that's what it means, or whether it's cancer or autoimmune, it is not a deficiency of the biologics, and it's a deficiency of the psychological, and it's a disruption of the HPA axis. We only find threat in our existence. We must begin to find love. Yes, eat a healthy diet, organic, no GMO, that doesn't disrupt the endocrine system. Your ability to send and receive information, both chemical and electrical, but we're adding another layer electronically. You must become like a crystal, sending and receiving and broadcasting the message of hope in workplace coverage.
Okay.
So,
right,
it sounds.
My number is. Anybody want to reach me? It's 202-424-4174. That's 202-424-4174. My email is very simple. Stephen, S-T-V-N Hall, H-A-L-L, 1960. The year of the rat, I think, at yahoo.com. So it's a revolution.
Okay.
Stephen Hall, 1960 at yahoo.com. Join the revolution. We're not afraid of what 2 cents you can put in. It all adds up to human development, and that's what we are propagating. Healing is human development, and there's many layers, the chemical, electrical, now we're saying the electronic, which is the most imminent danger to society.
Okay.
Even all life.
Okay, one more time. If you could just repeat the website that you spoke of earlier. You said Glacial Blue what?
.org. Glacial Blue.
Okay. All right. So Glacial
Blue's
Blue.
like a glacier. What's in a glacier?
Right.
Is blue. Water
Got you.
is .org.
Gotcha. I've been to the website and I just saw something that didn't look like you, so I just wanted to double check and make sure. But we really appreciate your time with us this morning. We wanted to introduce you to the Cleveland audience. Looking at your bio and your resume, there are a lot of different topics that we can get into. I think for the purposes of our listening audience, we need to get to the solutions and how they work. So because people are looking for answers, and we definitely want to provide them with the answers. So with that, we definitely thank you for sharing the information with us, and we look forward to future conversations with you because you're providing a vital service. Folks are trying to be healthy in this age of COVID, and, water is a key part of that. And, a lot of the water that we're drinking is just merely filtered tap water, and it's got a whole bunch of garbage in it that is not conducive to good health. We understand that, so we definitely want to connect folks with understanding what water is going to be a benefit to them. Thank you so much.
Just in closing, we want to accelerate it. It's activate and accelerate it. We want to broaden that definition of what healing, how it works, and just be mindful that if you go to the website, you will see Dr. William John Martin. I'm the brain behind it, so I'm the prop. Okay. But understand
All right.
Wearable pharmaceuticals. We can also wear these technology. We have it. You can wear it. You can apply it to your house. You can apply it to your home. You can apply it to your village. You can apply it to anywhere there, a bus, a train, wherever you are moving in, is wearableceuticals, and we call it waterceuticals, but it's not a caloric, it's not a drug, it's allostasis, beyond normal, toward that state of electronic allostasis improving.
Okay. All right, so thank you for that, and just know that you're being followed by a neuroscientist in the area of brain. So our listeners are getting quite a brainful this morning. Again, we thank you for joining us on 360 Info Network.
That's neuroplasticity and epigenetics. I look forward to hearing that dialogue in the HPA Actions, how we see ourselves in the world.
All right, well, stay tuned. You can listen live at newstalkcleveland.com to our interview with Dr. T. Owens Moore. Thanks for joining us. And with that, we'd like to welcome T. Owens Moore, Ph.D. He's trained as a physiological psychologist. I don't know why that word always trips me up because there's just so many letters in it. He's a graduate of Lincoln University in Pennsylvania. He has an MS and a PhD from Howard University, and for more than 20 years, he served as a college professor, a biomedical researcher, and an African-centered scholar and activist. He's a distinguished educator who appreciates interdisciplinary studies. He's a 2009 U.S. Fulbright Scholar and is recognized as a social activist on an international level. He's been on 4 continents as well as the Caribbean to teach and conduct research. He's written numerous scientific articles, and the reason that we have him on today is because he has a brand new book that's out. It's been out for a week or two. It's called Pigment Power, Topics on Melanin in Science and Health. He is a veteran here at 360 Info Network, and we are so pleased to have him on with us. Dr. Timothy Owens Moore. My brother, how are you today?
Yes. Greetings, my brother. I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for the invitation to talk with you again.
All right, Hamptonio.
What's up there, sir? How you doing there?
Hey, all right, brothers, my soldiers up north. Y'all handling business. I see you had an interview prior to trying to get that science to the people, and I commend you both for always bringing it to the people. I mean, like I said, we in dire straits right now. We need the right information.
That's exactly right.
You got that right. Well, Brother Moore, you're working diligently and, do this through all of our environments and what's going on and trying to keep us abreast on some things that we need to know and know about ourselves because, I was introduced to you from one of our other scholars, and since then you've been, time to time dropping in on us via the radio show and personally here in Cleveland. And I think, what you bring to the table is something that we have to keep reiterating about ourselves because we lack the knowledge of ourselves and this whole thing of this melanin and the relationship to, how we live, how we eat, and our brain and cells and things like that. And it's ever so important because, we go and walk, do our daily lives unknowing about those things. It can be doing detrimental things to us and not knowing. So that's why we have to keep bringing you back into that, we get that seeded into us well. So with the pigment power, how are we talking about some power with pigment there, brother? Explain what's going on in this book and why and the purpose for the book.
Man, you think about the way the Malcolm X used to talk about, make it plain. That's what I'm talking about, just make it plain. You just think about the whole issue of energy and the environment we live in. You see all the green and the leaves and the plants and the flowers. That green is the chlorophyll. I mean, there would be plant, be no foliage if there was no chlorophyll. And the sun and all that create the energy. Well, our bodies are no different. So in our bodies, the pigment is melanin. And the sun is what creates some kind of generated energy. I mean, melanin acts like a battery. So when we start understanding our bodies being connected to the universe, I'm talking about energy, you see how externally how things can mess up our energy. Especially with your guests prior to, we're talking, again, you start influencing those hormones, and they start acting in the unregulated way. Start creating problems that could be like autoimmune problems. Your body starts fighting itself. So the way news is being portrayed today and all the negativity and you kind of see, it's like, who is actually putting in the news? Who's actually putting in those news stories? Why do we have to have a news story every day about a black man got shot? Why do you always have something that's negative about? Where's the positive news? So we're being driven into a hyper state where our bodies are always overreacting, and then we start talking about melanin as a particular compound. It absorbs. It takes in. So you start talking about the power that we have to now use that rather than having it being used against us. That's where we are, to make it plain. We got the power within ourselves, but we kind of give it away sometimes. We don't know our history. We don't know our background. We don't know our culture. We don't know anything about us. And historically, we know why that happened, because of the whole enslavement process. But now it's a new day and age. It's up to us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, Dr. Moore, I'm curious about this place that we find ourselves in right now. Everyone is walking around with a certain level of fear, because they think that the person that they are encountering could possibly be a carrier of COVID-19. So now we have this idea that if we wear a mask, we're protected. If we don't wear a mask, we're not protected, and we're infecting each other. And I'm just curious about what the implications of the psychological state that we're in now, because our awareness of health and health concerns has been heightened by this threat to our health.
Yeah, it's kind of dangerous because it's really invisible. Think about it. I kind of say, this SARS is a severe acute respiratory virus. I mean, it has no legs. It ain't got no wings. So it's like, where is it? How is it just being generated? So people have said, no, it couldn't have come from a laboratory. They couldn't have created that because we've had coronaviruses all over the place. We've got bats that have a whole bunch of coronaviruses. So we talk about the elements that are out there in the world. They exist. Some of them are silent. Can't see them. So, it's almost like the boogeyman in the ghost story. You don't see it, but you're scared of it. What are you scared of? So that then also lowers your immune system. That's where the problem is.
Mm-hmm.
Our immune systems are lowered because we're generating all this negativity from the fear of the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
So my thing is, as I broke down Pigment Power, let's deal with the science of it. What is it that's getting into the system? How does it even approach the system in terms of getting into our cells? So when we start understanding from that perspective, we're not waiting for the boogeyman to tell us, hey, we got a vaccine for you. Hey, take this. It's going to solve the problem. That's not going to happen.
Doc Moore, just before you go on, you saying this emotional piece, how it's getting into our system? Is that what you're saying? How it's affecting
emotional piece is what's lowering our immune systems. That's
okay.
The problem is older people are getting more sick because they may not have their immune systems. I don't even say immune system anymore. I call it defense mechanism system. The defense mechanisms aren't working as well as they get older. Children younger, interleukin, interferon, they got these immunoglobulins that are working much more at a better pace. When you get older, they start to slow down. So now these viruses are having a greater impact on elderly. So what I'm saying is that if you see the change in a person's immune system or those cells over the years, also you start talking about the level of hormones that change over the years. So all that then creates an unregulated situation in your body, and the news and the stress creates even more problems. Just look at the word emotion. Emotion. E means what? Anything that comes out of you. Motion coming out of you. So basically people's behaviors are being manipulated from outside. How many people are tuning into self? How many people read books a day? How many people just trying to find another way rather than listen to the stuff that's on the news? That's dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, I think in this way of life, Doc, and especially in this culture and this Western philosophy, it has taken us so far away from understanding those pieces on how it relates to the well-being, the mental, the physical, the spiritual of our body. And I think that's the critical. I mean, that's why we're having these particular conversations, because we again letting the children run the parents here, and forsaking all the information that has been handed down from our ancestors. And now we just going along and simply void of any of that kind of understanding, seeing the relationship. Just like the doc said before, I was going to ask him a question about how he talked about it being electronic and that relationship. That's how the Creator put all this paradigms together. You know, the animal kingdom, the plant kingdom, and everything has a vibratory energy. You know, so and we, you know, all working in harmony amongst all of that and in relationships. So it's amazing to me. You know,
it's 11 is the key.
Yes, it's 11:45. We got to take a break right quick. So I want to have Dr. Moore expound on what he just heard. When we come back, you're listening to AM 1490 WERE Radio. This is 360 Info Network with Hamptonio, Vince Robinson, and our special guest, Dr. T. Owens Moore. He is the author of Pigment Power, Topics on Melanin in Science and Health, and we'll be back to talk about more of this fabulous book when we come back. We'll be right back.
Are you ready for a new black economy? Hoppy is a brand new documentary that will set you on a new path of knowledge and enlightenment. The Hoppy film gives viewers a snapshot of our economic history from the dawn of civilization right up until today. Hoppy brings together the brightest and most prolific minds in the fields of psychology, history, business, and politics. Together, they deliver a message of cooperative economics, financial independence, and a pride that we can all be inspired by. On sale now, streaming on all digital formats. For DVD, please visit www.hoppyfilm.com. Use offer code HOPPY360 for a 10% discount. Go to www.hapifilm.com today. www.hoppyfilm.com.
We're back on AM 1490, 360 Info Network with Hamptonio and Vince Robinson. Our guest is Dr. T. Owens Moore, author of Pigment Power, Topics on Melanin in Science and Health. And we want to give him an opportunity to respond to what he heard right before we took the break.
Yeah, before you do, Doc, we also got to mention that he's author of Science of the Melanin, Dark Matter, Dark Secrets, and what I'm missing, Doc?
Why Darkness Matters, the Power of Melanin in the Brain.
Right. Okay, good. I wanted folks to know that you write extensively on that subject matter. But go ahead, Doc, if you remember whatever statement I made.
Well, the question is about the system we live in. It's a global system right now, capitalism, and it's about taking and getting and not tuning in. So I'm just saying that in the context of, I got a chapter in my book called Penis, Power, and Pigmentation. One of the parts I talk about is naked and exposed. Suppose there was no money. Suppose there was nothing to barter like that. People just be. If you could just be, oh my goodness, you could grow and do what we did in the past, like build pyramids. But today, you got people creating a situation where you got to have this piece of paper to say you somebody, some coin to say you somebody. So now your whole life is driven by that. So in a psychological term, you know, there's a term called axiology. What's important to you as a people, as a group? African people is interpersonal contact. Europeans is things and material. So in this electronic age, this thing and material and staying home and being on the computer, they love that stuff. That's not us. We need the contact. So that helps out with our emotions, with our mental state. And so right now we're living in a system that is detaching us from our reality. That's why we're in trouble.
Yeah.
So as you guys on the program, you know, continually bring on scholars and scientists and educators to kind of get people to think differently, that's where it starts. If you don't think differently, you're not going to be training your body in the right way.
Yeah. I wanted to go back to that idea of our mental state being affected by what we're bringing in, because we talked about some of the psychological implications, and there's another one that I want to throw in there, particularly when it comes to our elders, because our elders have been taken away from the things that have enabled them to be connected. You know, a lot of our elders go to church every Sunday. They've had church taken away from them. If they wanted to go to a jazz club and listen to some old school jazz or R&B, they can't do that anymore. So I'm just wondering also about the impact of our elders being isolated and being kept away from the hugs that generate, you know, the hormones that that strengthen their immune system. Could you speak specifically about that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole area study called gerontology. Prior to this pandemic, they were talking about having like animals or pets to help out with the elderly. Some people have Alzheimer's disease. Maybe you can use some music. Guess what? They have bad memory, but you put on that song, like maybe old Frankie Beverly song. They know that song. You know what I'm saying? So in the mind is where we have a problem when it's not being fed properly. So yes, you're correct that many of the elderly that don't have the opportunity to go to church anymore, that don't have the technology to get on Facebook Live, to go on to church, it creates a scenario where it comes down to family being supportive, to go at least try to meet and greet them. I mean, I take my mother out. She's 83 years old, and she's not fearing anything. She takes her mask and she goes out, but I get her out the house. So we have to have a situation where we still can create an environment where they're involved, but you're also protecting them. That connection, like you said, I feel bad for people who are sick and go in the hospital. You can't even have your loved ones around you to assist in your health.
Right. Hey, Doc, this is something that I ran across something, and I haven't really dove deep into it, but the theoretical understanding of it, I get. When they speak on, we talking about this energy and the energy that the brain transmit, and how we can connect to each other like that. How they talked about how they had some of these either yogas or monks come in a city that was violent, and how it actually changed the grid of the planet with them thinking on one accord and all together. And and it's just amazing how, like I'm saying, this human experience on how we can connect with our auras and that mental, that energy, and how it can deal with the tangible things and moving things and causing things to happen. And like you're saying, they don't have in the environment and things around us. It's just amazing. It's that connection on how they're trying to get people to meditate at a certain frequency on how it affects the things going on the planet.
Well, it may be harder to prove. I know we got a quick minute on that. It might be harder to prove to people that worked on the meditation and collectively people thinking together. But on the other side, look what's going on in the White House and how people are thinking. That's a message being put out there. And guess what? How many people all over the world are thinking all this negativity or feeling that negativity? So if we reverse the scenario and you don't have a knucklehead in the White House, get him out of there, and now you have a whole different level of thinking. Now you change the planet. Right now, the planet is on a negative scope because if we're the so-called most powerful planet, most powerful nation on the planet, and we now have this leadership that's coming through with all this negativity, and the world is following that or feeling that, it's the same thing on the other side. We now changed the whole scope of your thinking. That's why I'm saying I'm proud of y'all, brothers, for even doing this. I guess y'all might not even get paid to do this. Y'all doing this out of the love of your heart. You know what I mean? Y'all doing this just to make sure that the people have access to the right knowledge to change their thinking. You don't change your thinking, we will be stuck. And right now, again, we're in a day and age where there's no excuses anymore. They're there. You can push a button, get the book. You go down the store, get some information, just to push the button. Right now, if you're not even putting yourself in that position to want to know, you're not going to make it. You ain't going to survive. Some people ain't
How we gonna motivate, Doc? How we motivate? How we get them? The folks just, we got so complacent and laid back. We just don't want to, And you present them with new information. They no motivation to even look at it.
Well, on top of that, we don't read. You got all this great information in the book, but people don't. They would rather watch Lovecraft than to sit down with a book and get something that can edify them. So, I just want to add to that question, how do we push folks towards reading and stepping away from electronic devices?
Show by example. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
If you guys now have a book club or somebody you showed a certain document to and you say this helped you out, you got the brother on there talking about the water and the whole issue of changing the alkaline nature of your body. I mean, if you show by example, wow, that's why you look so young. Wow, that's why your skin looks so beautiful. Wow, that's why you ain't got no arthritis problems. Okay, let me try that.
Okay. So while we're talking about this, tell folks how they can get your book. and other books?
www.drtmoore.com. That would be DRTMOORE.com. That's the simplest way. If you're interested in the documents, you can go ahead and order from there.
Okay. And just to read through some of the chapters, you have the social implications of blackness, the role of melanin in health promotion, melanin and nervous system development, sun conscious, quite an interesting name for a chapter, electromagnetic energy and mental health. We just talked about us being electrical beings. There's something that supports that notion. Rhythm Nation, as you mentioned earlier, penis power and pigmentation, melanin and cellular enhancement, melanin protection, stress, and aging. Again, very important topics, and we need to know how melanin is connected to those things. Technology and the blackest of black, astrobiology and melanin, and Chapter 12, pigment-powered defense system, which you are replacing the idea of immune system. You're calling it a pigment-powered defense system.
Yes.
Yes.
Beautiful.
I'm excited, my brothers. If I ever get a chance to come back to Cleveland, talk about it with you, I'm waiting on it.
Well, we can do that, and in the meantime, we can put your face on the screen and let folks see you and hear you and share your screen and do all of that. So we'll work to get you in front of some folks in Cleveland. But the beauty of it is that you're not just restricted to Cleveland. We'll be able to reach people all around the world.
Excellent.
All right. Dr. T. Owens Moore right here on AM 1490, 360 Info Network. We thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to a future conversation.
Thanks, my brother. Y'all have a beautiful, strong end.
All right. Get back to that tennis
Thank you, my
court.
brother.
Get back to that tennis court, bruh.
All right.
All right.
Hamptonio, any closing thoughts?
Yes, again, I just, thank our listeners for keep, tuning in to us. We try to do our best to bring you good information that can help you, not streamline information that's bringing you the same type of rhetoric, but something to empower you to feed the mind, body, soul, and spirit. So stay strong, keep engaged, and keep your antennas up and listening to what's going on. And we got a very serious election coming up. I think this could be the crossroads on where we're going. So I really, get out to vote. And really, this is a very important time right now. I really think so.
Okay. I also want to remind our listeners, don't forget about hoppyfilm.com. Hoppyfilm.com.
Absolutely.
You can go in and get that 10% discount.
Oh, yeah, I got my 3 discs, man. I came in yesterday.
Okay, all right. So something to look forward to. I'm sure you will enjoy what you see. And we are urging our listeners to take advantage of the same opportunity. Hoppyfilm.com. HAPIFILM.com. With that, know yourself, love yourself, be yourself. Make it a great day, Cleveland.
Peace.